Thank you very much, Community Foundation, for having me. It's a little hard to go after Jamie. That's very powerful. Jamie, thank you so much for your ongoing advocacy. The Medicine Hat Women's Shelter Society has been in this community for over 40 years. I'm sometimes remiss in assuming that everybody knows what we do and what's going on. And so sometimes I need to remind people of that. So we've been in the community for over 40 years. We run an emergency 30-bed, 21-day shelter, a second stage 1-year shelter that has 10 townhouse units with it. We have extensive children's programming as we really believe in primary prevention work and working with the kids. That includes a daycare on site. And as well, we have off-site outreach services, SFIT and Housing First stuff. So the pandemic has had a considerable impact on domestic violence. You'll see it in the vital signs report. Many, in fact, are calling it a shadow pandemic. In Medicine Hat alone, domestic violence calls to police this past year went up 29%. So for us, that translated to seeing over 1,500 individuals, 500 of which who were children. And I think for people to understand that is a pretty big impact. In the sector, those of us who work in this sector were not surprised about the increase in DV. We knew that was going to be coming. We knew that these were dark days for our clients. They were trapped at home with their abuser. When home's not a safe place, being told to stay there is not about chilling out and watching Netflix. It's not about eating comfort foods and hanging on the couch with your pets. For our families in domestic violence, it's scary and unsafe. Our children struggled greatly when they were sent home to do online schooling. Many did not have the access to technology to make this happen. Parents did not have the capacity to navigate online schools in the middle of crisis and trauma. When your daily life includes family violence, being able to leave the home for any reason, dropping the kids to school, dentist appointments, grocery shopping, your own work, is a form of survival that was taken away during the pandemic. So we continued to provide supports and programs and services in creative ways to ensure individuals and children still receive the essential services that they needed. Moving forward and through the pandemic, I think what will be key in terms of supporting people who've gone through domestic violence and are continuing to live with it is just supporting people, supporting friends, colleagues, families, your neighbors. As Jamie said, your staff, it could be people you know, and it probably is people you know, given the high rates of DV in this town. It's very hard to reach out and ask for help. And as Brianna mentioned, sometimes you have to reach in. Sometimes it's easier to offer it once it's been offered. So a lot of families and a lot of individuals experiencing family violence are fearful. They're fearful for asking for help or reporting their abuser out of backlash. But if you create an opportunity to be the one to raise that concern, it makes it feel safer to talk about it. So ask if you can help, if they need support, if they want to talk, help them make that first call or perhaps even a visit to the shelter. It's important to validate people's feelings of what they're experiencing. Let them know it's not right and that they don't deserve to be experiencing that and that you believe them. That's what's key. We also need to respect their autonomy to make decisions in their own lives. They might stay with their abuser for their whole lives, but they still need unbiased, non-judgmental supports. You know, it's like Jamie said about checking biases. People have to be shown empathy and kindness. If they do leave an abusive situation, recognize that people are grieving the loss of a relationship, even though they know it's not safe to remain in the relationship. That grief, it's real and it's complex. This is a relationship that they entered hoping that this is somebody they were going to build their life with. All of a sudden, it all falls apart and they're not ready for that. Recognize and don't judge if people have maybe turned to substances to help them cope. We've seen the toll of this pandemic and domestic violence and what it does for mental health, and possible substance abuse may use to self-medicate or escape from the grim reality they are confronted with on a daily basis. Address the most immediate pressing concerns first. You can't heal from family violence if you're homeless, if your mental health is severely affected, if your addictions are out of control, if the violence is still occurring, if you have medical needs due to an assault. There's a lot of things that might be more pressing that need to be addressed before they can start to getting into family violence healing work. They need the support to do that. If you're not in the right frame of mind for this work, it might have the opposite effect and create more stress and anxiety for families. So we want to make sure that people are connected to family violence supports when they are stable and ready and capable and ready to receive the support and need that. there's a lot of pressure for people to get over things and accept the new normal. It seems to be in this day and age there, people are being told to move on, and this is, you have to just deal with it. And this applies to the pandemic we're in, and it is more specifically to domestic violence and the grief surrounding it. People don't tend to move on of it, they move forward, and they need to give themselves and everyone else around them grace. To sort of get through those days. So really what we want at the Medicine Hat Women's Shelter Society is for clients to feel that when they enter any shelter, any of our programs, we honor their resistance, and we recognize in the face of sheer crisis and chaos and terror, something many of us will never live through, they persevered, they kept their children safe, they took the right actions by seeking out services to build a new life free from violence. Not an easy task by any means, but one that we are honored to share with them as part of their journey as they come to the Medicine Hat Women's Shelter. So that's what we're there for, and that's what we hope for going forward with this pandemic. So thank you very much for your time.